Nia Parker stood in front of her mirror, adjusting the collar of her lavender dress for what felt like the 10th time. Her heart thudded like a restless drum. Today wasn't just any Sunday. It was the day she would finally meet her husband's mother, Mrs. Celeste Moore. For 2 years of marriage, Celeste had avoided her. She'd missed their wedding due to a business trip, and every holiday call ended with a polite but distant, "Tell your wife hello." So when a white embossed card arrived in the mail, "Dinner at Mrs. Celeste Moore's residence," Nia almost dropped it. "Babe, she actually invited us," she said, wide-eyed. Jordan looked up from his laptop.
"See,
"I told you she'd come around." "She used her assistant's handwriting," Nia muttered, turning the envelope over. "It doesn't even say Dear Nia. It just says Mr. and Mrs. Moore." Jordan laughed nervously. "That's how she does everything, formally." "She sounds like a judge." "More like the jury and the law combined," he replied with a grin. By the time they left their downtown condo, Nia had convinced herself she'd win Celeste over. She was warm, educated, and grounded, a nurse who worked long hours at Mercy General. Surely any mother would appreciate that. But when they pulled into the gated driveway of a massive 3-story brick mansion in the Chicago suburbs, her confidence cracked. "Jordan," she whispered, "this isn't a house. It's a museum." He squeezed her hand. "Relax. Just be yourself." Nia exhaled shakily. Easier said than done. The front door opened before they even rang the bell. A woman in her late 50s stood framed by light, elegant, commanding, with silver-streaked hair twisted into a bun. Her pearls gleamed against her jet-black blouse. "Jordan," she said smoothly, voice honeyed but cold. "You're late." "Good evening, Mama." He kissed her cheek. "You look amazing." Her eyes slid to Nia, scanning her from head to toe. "And you must be the wife." "Yes, ma'am." "Nia." She extended her hand. Celeste looked at it, but didn't shake it. "Shoes off, please. I just had the marble floors cleaned." Nia blinked but complied, slipping out of her heels. The air smelled of lemon polish and expensive candles. Family portraits filled the walls, Jordan in prep school uniforms, graduation robes, vacation photos. But there was no sign of Nia anywhere. Celeste led them into a dining room so pristine it felt like a museum exhibit. "Sit," she said. "Dinner's ready." As they settled, Celeste clasped her wine glass. "So Nia, remind me, what is it you do?" "I'm a nurse at Mercy General Hospital." Celeste nodded once, eyes sharp.
"Ah,
"A noble profession." Her tone dripped with polite dismissal. Jordan quickly added, "She just got promoted to senior staff nurse." "How nice," Celeste said flatly. "I always say, it's good to have someone in the family who can handle emergencies." Nia forced a smile, but inside she felt the sting. The dining table gleamed under crystal chandeliers. Silver cutlery was arranged in perfect symmetry. Celeste's housekeeper, an older woman named Ruth, served baked ham, collard greens, and cornbread muffins. Jordan tried to lighten the mood. "Mama, you still making your famous sweet potato casserole?" Celeste's lips curved slightly. "The same way your father liked it. May he rest in peace." A framed photo of a distinguished man hung near the fireplace. "That's him," Celeste said, noticing Nia's glance. "My late husband, Charles Moore, founder of Moore Real Estate Holdings. A man of vision." Nia smiled politely. "Jordan talks about him all the time."
does he?"
Celeste said, eyes narrowing. "He was raised to follow in his father's footsteps. Leadership, legacy, those things matter." "I agree," Nia said softly. "Legacy isn't just money, it's the impact you leave on others." Celeste's expression didn't change.
"How poetic."
Jordan coughed, sensing the tension. "Mama, You should see the new development site in Bronzeville. I'd rather discuss something relevant, Celeste interrupted. Family matters more than construction projects. Her words fell like stones. Nia looked down at her plate. Dinner had only begun, but it already felt endless. Midway through dinner, Celeste turned nostalgic. Do you remember Lauren? She asked Jordan. The girl you dated before college? Jordan stiffened. Yes, Mama. Celeste sighed dramatically. Such a refined young lady. Came from a family of educators. Always knew which fork to use. Nia's fork froze halfway to her mouth. I'm sure she was wonderful. Oh, she was, Celeste said sweetly. But Jordan's heart had other plans. Jordan frowned. Lauren's in the past. Celeste gave a small shrug. A shame. She would have fit perfectly into this family. Nia felt her throat tighten. She sipped her water and tried to smile. Every woman brings something unique. Celeste's eyes glinted. Yes, some bring grace. Others, learning experiences. Jordan slammed his napkin down. Mama, stop. Celeste blinked innocently. What? I'm just talking. Nia excused herself to the restroom, heart pounding. She stared into the mirror and whispered, You're not going to cry here. Not in her house. When she returned, the conversation had shifted to business. Celeste was explaining the Moore legacy, 3 generations of real estate developers. We've built an empire, Celeste said proudly, and I intend for it to stay intact. Jordan nodded. We've already expanded into commercial leasing. Nia's been really supportive. Celeste smiled tightly. Support is nice, but understanding business strategy is essential. You need someone who can keep up. Nia finally spoke, voice calm but firm. With respect, Mrs. Moore, compassion is also strategy. People follow those who care. Celeste froze, then set her glass down. Spoken like someone who's never led a company. Jordan's chair scraped back. That's enough, Mama. Celeste's eyes flickered with hurt pride. You'll regret speaking to me that way. No, I'll regret staying quiet. He stood and took Nia's hand. We're leaving. Celeste didn't stop them. My door is always open, though not everyone is invited back. The door closed behind them with a thud that echoed like a verdict. Back home, Nia paced the living room, voice trembling. She despises me, Jordan. She doesn't, he said softly. She's just complicated. Complicated. She called me ignorant in front of you. Jordan ran a hand over his face. She lost Dad, Nia. That made her controlling. She thinks protecting me means keeping everyone else out. Nia sank onto the couch. You shouldn't have to choose between us. I won't, he said. But I need time to make her see you the way I do. Days turned into weeks. Celeste didn't call. When Jordan's birthday came, a gift card arrived in the mail, with a note addressed only to him. To my son, may you always remember where you come from. Nia tore it up. She doesn't even hide it anymore. Jordan sighed. Then I'll make her understand. He didn't know how, but fate would do it for him. One rainy evening, Nia was on duty at Mercy General when an emergency call came in. Female, late 50s, collapsed at a charity gala. When the paramedics wheeled her in, Nia froze. Mrs. Moore. Celeste blinked weakly.
Nia.
Nia's training kicked in. We've got you, ma'am. Throughout the night, she checked Celeste's vitals, adjusted her fore, and spoke gently even when Celeste snapped. I don't need your pity. This isn't pity. It's care, Nia replied calmly. At 2 a.m., when Celeste couldn't sleep, she whispered, You stayed all night? I don't leave my patients, Nia said softly. Celeste studied her. You remind me of my mother. Stubborn but gentle. Nia smiled faintly. Jordan gets that from you. For the first time, Celeste laughed, a tired, genuine sound. By morning, Celeste's blood pressure had stabilized. She asked Nia to sit. I was wrong about you, she said quietly. I mistook grace for weakness. Nia shook her head. I don't need an apology. I just wanted peace. You deserve both, Celeste said. When my husband died, I clung to what I could control. You threatened that control. I only wanted family, not your throne, Nia said gently. Celeste exhaled. You're stronger than I thought. Jordan's lucky. When Jordan arrived that afternoon, he froze at the sight of them chatting over tea. Mama! Celeste smiled faintly. She saved my life. Literally and otherwise. Weeks later, Celeste called Nia herself. I owe you dinner, she said. My house again. Nia laughed. No, ma'am. My turn. That Friday, Nia cooked jollof rice, baked salmon, and roasted veggies. She wore a simple apron with "Faith over Fear" embroidered on it. Celeste arrived precisely at 6, carrying a bouquet. For you, she said awkwardly. They're beautiful. Thank you. During dinner, they talked easily about faith, work, and grief. Celeste complimented the food. You cook with heart. Nia smiled. And a little nervous energy. Celeste chuckled. Don't be. You've earned your place. Before leaving, Celeste handed her a velvet box. Inside was a golden locket engraved with more legacy. It belonged to Jordan's grandmother, she said. Now it belongs to you. Tears welled in Nia's eyes. I don't know what to say. Just promise me, Celeste whispered, you'll keep this family together. Months later, at the Moore family reunion, laughter filled Celeste's backyard. Children played, cousins reconnected, and Jordan flipped burgers on the grill. Celeste sat beside Nia under a gazebo, fanning herself. You've changed this family, she said softly. You brought warmth back. Nia smiled. Took both of us. When the photographer called for a group picture, Celeste stood and said loudly, Nia, come stand beside me. Front row, where she belongs. Everyone smiled as the camera clicked. Celeste slipped her arm around Nia. You turned my son's house into a home. Nia's heart swelled. And you turned my fear into family. That night, as they drove home, Nia leaned her head on Jordan's shoulder. You know, she said smiling, the day I met your mother was the worst day of my life. Jordan laughed. And now, she said softly, it's the day everything changed for the better. Months after the reunion, the peace in the Moore family began to shake. Jordan walked into their apartment one evening, looking exhausted. Babe, he said, dropping his briefcase on the couch, Mama wants me to take over the downtown branch of the company. That's good news, Nia said, smiling. She trusts you now. Jordan hesitated. There's a catch. She wants us to move into her house, for a while. Nia froze. Move back with your mother? He nodded. She says it's temporary, until I'm settled into the new role. She claims it's for convenience. Nia looked away. Convenience for who? Because I remember how inconvenient I used to be. Jordan moved closer. She's changed, Nia. I think she's really trying. Nia exhaled. I don't want to live under her roof again, Jordan. Not after everything. She said she wants to learn from you, he added softly. She even mentioned starting a family foundation together, with you as director. That surprised Nia. She did. He nodded. Maybe she's finally letting go. Nia thought about it for a long moment before whispering, Okay, but if it turns ugly again, we leave. Moving into the mansion felt like stepping back into the battlefield. The marble floors still gleamed, and the air still smelled of lemon polish and control. But Celeste greeted them at the door this time, with open arms. "Welcome home," she said warmly, hugging Nia first.
I'm glad you came.
Nia blinked, stunned by the gesture.
Thank you, ma'am.
"Please," Celeste said, smiling faintly. "Call me Mom." That word softened everything. Days turned into weeks. Nia helped Celeste organize charity meetings and healthcare projects. They sat together for long hours planning the More Community Foundation, a program aimed at supporting low-income women with free nursing scholarships. During one meeting, Celeste said, "You know, I used to think power was about control. But it's really about legacy, passing something greater than yourself." Nia nodded. Legacy built on love lasts longer. Celeste smiled. "You've been teaching me that." But not everyone was happy. Jordan's cousin Marcus, a senior executive in the company, whispered one evening, "So the nurse is running the show now?" Jordan frowned. "Watch your tone, Marcus." Marcus smirked. "I'm just saying, people are talking." When Nia overheard that, her chest tightened. The old wound of not being enough began to reopen. One morning, while reviewing charity documents, Nia noticed something odd, some missing funds in the foundation's first disbursement report. She brought it up to Celeste. "Mom, the numbers don't add up. Someone withdrew $40,000 without authorization." Celeste frowned. "That's impossible. Only Marcus and the accountant have access." Jordan joined them, scanning the files. "He's been acting strange lately. I'll handle it." But Celeste shook her head.
No.
"Let Nia investigate. This is her department." For the next week, Nia dug deep, emails, receipts, call logs. Finally, she found the truth. Marcus had used the foundation's account to cover his gambling debt. She confronted him one evening in the company's parking lot. "Marcus, we need to talk," Nia said firmly. He scoffed. "What are you, the family cop now?" "You took money meant for women's education," she said. "That's theft." "You think Celeste will believe you over me?" he sneered. "You're the outsider." Celeste appeared behind them just then, her voice calm but cold. "She doesn't need me to believe her, Marcus. The bank already confirmed it." Marcus froze. "You've shamed this family," Celeste continued. "And you underestimated my daughter-in-law." Nia's eyes widened at the words "my daughter-in-law." Marcus had nothing left to say. 2 days later, the scandal hit the media. More Foundation executive under investigation for embezzlement, the headlines read. Reporters crowded the Moore estate, snapping photos and shouting questions. Celeste sat in the living room, trembling with anger and sadness. "I raised him like my own son. How could he do this?" Nia sat beside her. "People fall, Mom. But what we do next defines us." Celeste turned to her. "What would you do?" "Hold a press conference," Nia said. "Tell the truth. Don't hide it. Let the public see that integrity still exists in this family." Celeste nodded slowly. "You really are brave." That afternoon, they stood together before the cameras. Celeste spoke first. "Our family built this company on hard work and faith. And when mistakes happen, we correct them with honesty. I'm proud to say this foundation is now under new leadership, Mrs. Nia Moore." The reporters gasped. Nia stepped forward, voice steady. "This isn't just about money. It's about accountability, compassion, and change. The Moore Foundation will continue to serve the community with transparency and love." By the next morning, the internet was filled with praise. "Nurse-turned-director saves Moore legacy," trended across social media. Celeste smiled through tears. "You did it. You restored what I thought was lost. Nia held her hand. No, Mom. We did. 1 year later, the Moore Foundation had become one of Chicago's most respected nonprofits. Young nurses from poor backgrounds received scholarships, single mothers were trained in healthcare skills, and lives were being changed every day. At the foundation's first anniversary gala, Celeste stood at the podium. Tonight, I want to honor two people who reminded me what family means. My son, who never stopped believing in me, and my daughter, who taught me that strength can come wrapped in kindness. The audience applauded. Nia wiped tears as Jordan squeezed her hand. When it was her turn to speak, Nia smiled at the crowd. The day I met my husband's mother was one of the hardest days of my life. But looking back, it was also the day God began building something beautiful out of pain. Love takes patience, forgiveness, and grace. Celeste rose and hugged her on stage, to everyone's delight. I once thought she wasn't good enough for my son, Celeste said into the microphone, voice trembling. Now, I pray every day that I can live up to the woman she is. The crowd erupted in applause. Later that night, as fireworks lit up the Chicago skyline, Jordan wrapped his arms around Nia on the balcony. Remember what you told me that first day, he whispered. That it was horrible, she laughed. He nodded. Well, she said, smiling softly, now it's the most beautiful memory of my life.